Welcome back. All right, news of the day video for all you fine people on the internet for your Thursday. It is March the 19th. It's almost officially spring. We'll start at the top of the board. That is normally how these things work. The New York Islanders have signed first-round draft pick from 2024, Cole Eiserman, to a 3-year entry-level contract. So, 20th overall pick in 2024. We'll see how quickly he gets into the lineup and what that looks like for him. But yeah, first-round draft picks, we're going to see a lot of them getting signed over the next little while here. Josh Anderson dealing with an upper body injury. He is listed as day-to-day. Doesn't sound like he'll be playing tonight. Anderson's had a decent season. However, I will say that with Montreal, with the depth they have currently in their organization, they should be just fine if he's not out for very long. So Anderson out day-to-day. We'll see how long that ends up being. Sometimes day-to-day becomes weeks or months. Draisaitl has been placed on long-term injured reserve by the Edmonton Oilers. Järventie has been recalled on an emergency basis. The Edmonton Oilers, of course, will be without Draisaitl for the remainder of the regular season, so it's not a huge surprise that they've placed him on LTIR. The expectation is he'll probably be coming off of LTIR when the playoffs roll around. McDavid sits on the verge of numerous milestones going into tonight's game. He has 398 career goals, so he's right next to 400. He has 799 assists, so right next to 800, which means he's 3 points short of 1,200 in his career. Will he reach all three of those milestones tonight? Will he reach one of them, two of them, or will they all wait? We'll see. But at any rate, yeah, McDavid will be probably reaching, I would think, the assist milestone. I'll go out on a limb and say he gets to the assist milestone tonight with an outside shot at the points milestone. Maybe he'll be motivated a little bit by the fact that Kucherov has put together a ridiculous run of points over the last little while. We shall see. So we've talked about Jack Hughes and the puck that's at the Hall of Fame from the Olympics, and apparently hockey pucks at the Olympics are a little different than they are with the National Hockey League. The NHL, if you score a goal and it's a big goal, like how many times have we seen a guy gets his first NHL goal, player grabs the puck, make sure that it gets the tape on it, they put the writing on it to signify what that puck is, and then, the player can keep it. Sometimes they end up on auction sites through the NHL or through team sites. I have some goal pucks myself, but that goal puck apparently from the Olympics does not belong to Jack Hughes, and that is what the Hall of Fame basically has answered with, that puck is theirs. They have a paper trail of who owned it and when, and it definitely sounds like in the case of the Olympics, it's a bit of a different rule than it would be for the National Hockey League. Jack Hughes, to his credit, has said he's honored that it's at the Hall of Fame. I think he just preferred to have it himself, but yeah, so who knew? Pucks at the Olympics belong to the Olympics, I guess, who then sell it to the Hall of Fame. I still think that 2026 display is great. I do. I think that's a great idea. And so, who knows? Maybe this summer I'll get to go see that puck live. We're still deciding on what we're going to do for August. We've often taken trips in August. Our trip last August was put aside because of a medical emergency involving my wife. So we haven't traveled now, and it's over a year since we've traveled. So maybe Toronto Hall of Fame, check out the pucks, maybe. But either way, apparently that's how you have to see them. So there you go. The NHL is dealing with, and what's interesting is that I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing, and it's definitely a discussion point to have. 281 NHL games have gone to extra time this year out of the 1,082 that have been played. There are 1,312 in an NHL season. This is the highest number through to that point in a season in NHL history, which means more overtime and shootout loss points, more inflated numbers, and I definitely would love to see the NHL do something to curb the 3-point games a little bit, but I do understand what this does too is it means that it keeps teams artificially closer to the playoff line than they otherwise would be, might keep a team artificially above the playoff line rather than being below it, and for all the people who want to go to a 3-2-1 point system, it doesn't feel like the NHL has any desire for that they really do like that all these games are going to extra time, that all these games are so close, which I understand. If you're gonna sell the league as being, oh hey, everybody can beat everybody else, fine, that's a talking point, but it's a lot of extra points being handed out. There also have now been 67 comeback victories in the final 5 minutes of games where a team that is behind comes back and wins. In 2022-2023, the NHL record was set with 73. So that would mean 6 out of 232 remaining games would have to be comeback victories. I'm going to go out on a limb and say they break that record. In fact, they probably shatter it. The comeback victories, too, I've talked about. I do feel like there's something in the way that games are played now that's different. When teams have a lead, they don't seem to try to add to it in third periods. They try to sit on it, and that leads to more comebacks. I do think that's a big part of it. Plus, teams that are down, I think, understand that comebacks happen regularly, so they play like a team that's trying to make that comeback. So, at any rate, let me know your thoughts on the fact we've had so many comebacks in the National Hockey League. Andrew Kopp is seen as a game-time decision tonight against Montreal. He was expected to be out for 2 weeks. He has been out for, I believe it's 9 days now that he's been out. So it'd be a little bit early, but not entirely too early if he does come back. Brandzeg Nygaard is also seen as a potential to play tonight. So they're both game time decisions. And it'll be interesting to see how healthy things get. As for Larkin's progress, he's still not taking contact, so Larkin's still a ways out, and Detroit needs to find a way to navigate this. Pittsburgh navigated things without Crosby, without Malkin, and Detroit has got to find a way to do that without Larkin and others as well. Definitely a lot of injury issues around the NHL, and what it really does is it shows which teams have more depth than others. Laba dealing with a lower body injury, Vakanainen dealing with an upper body injury, and they're both being evaluated in New York, so they're not going to be playing tonight against Columbus. Mackey has been recalled in a corresponding move, so he'll be playing tonight, it sounds like, against the Blue Jackets. Laba's had a really strong rookie season. Not a huge point producer, but good energy player, and so hopefully he's not out for that long. And Vakanainen's a decent depth defenseman. We'll see how long he's out for the Rangers. Bobby Brink's apparently to return tonight against Chicago, and it's interesting because I've been reading about Brink being back in the lineup for a while. Like as in the last couple of games, just he should play, he might play, maybe. So if Brink returns tonight against Chicago, he may be able to help the Wild extend their points record against Chicago. It's interesting, too, because 3 times this year they've beaten Chicago, but each time it's needed extra time. So they're looking to extend their point streak to 20 games against the Chicago Blackhawks. In their last 19 meetings with Chicago, they're 18-0-1. And as dominant as that sounds, remember, every game this year has required extra time. So for the Minnesota Wild, we'll see if they reach 20 games with at least a point against Chicago in any game they've played against them. Neil Pionk, seen in a regular jersey for Winnipeg, does not necessarily mean he's good to return, just that he is trending closer. He's getting much closer to being able to return. So that's good news for the Winnipeg Jets and their fans. Hopefully Pionk's able to return pretty darn quickly. I had to put this on the board. Cole Hudson made his debut with the Washington Capitals last night. And it's one of the more impressive debuts I've seen with a defenseman because he's playing a lot of minutes and he didn't look out of place. He looked good. He was composed. He was a very good defenseman. There are defensemen when they come into the NHL, it immediately grabs my attention. Cale Makar is one that right away you could tell this kid was going to be a star. Lane Hudson in his debut with the Montreal Canadiens was pretty obvious. And now his brother Cole. It looks like it runs in the family. So Washington has themselves a defenseman that looks pretty darn good in Hudson. Obviously, one game is a small sample size, but he had the empty netter, and he absolutely looked like a legitimate top 4 defenseman already in the National Hockey League. Pio Joseph in a regular jersey today at practice or at the morning skate for the Vancouver Canucks. He's not going to play tonight. He may play this weekend. So Vancouver, who have dealt with injuries all year, getting Joseph back would be nice. We'll see if that does happen. Elliot Friedman will be co-hosting the Canucks for Kids Telethon tonight. So regardless of how people might feel about the Canucks for Kids Telethon is a force for good. I have donated to it a few times before. May very well donate to it again because I know it goes to a good cause. This is also why I buy 50-50 tickets when I'm at hockey games, because I know that whether I win or lose, half of that money is going to charity, and it's a good charity. It's a good reason to give money. So I know at the game we went to there in Abbotsford, where it was sparsely attended, there was still 7,150 given out to the 50-50 winner. So I think it was around 7,500, 7,100, somewhere around there for the 50-50 winner, which is not bad for a half empty barn here in Abbotsford, meaning that the other half of that money went to charity. Newman recalled on an emergency basis by Seattle. The Kraken excited about how well he was playing for the Firebirds in the AHL, and so it sounds like Newman's going to get a decent shot at showing what he can do. Newman's looked good previously when he's been called up by Seattle, so I have no doubt that Newman's going to impress this time around, and we'll see if he sticks around. So the key thing when you get recalled is make it so it's really difficult for them to send you back down. And since Seattle's in the midst of a playoff chase, if he can show he's an asset to that, maybe he does stick around. Anyways, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. As always, hit like and subscribe in the event you may not have done so already. Thank you guys so much for all your support. It's greatly appreciated. I will talk to you again soon.